Hello. Okay, doing this video for a couple people that are out there, and it'll be more of an informational video. I'm not going to have any benches or anything like that, any computers running in the background. Actually, I'm in the back part of the house here. What I'd like to do is go over a few different questions that were out there and the misconceptions that are out there. Because I get them a lot. I've got them for years. This is like my third YouTube channel, but anyway. Something that people need to understand is a lot of people jump around and say, you know, this is a 3770K, this is 2500K, Ivy Bridge versus Sandy Bridge, which is better for the games? Is the new technology any different that would cause your games to play any better? Okay, that's the big thing you're hearing out there right now is, does the Ivy Bridge play games better than the Sandy Bridge? Okay. Key to this is people beware. A lot of these videos that you see on YouTube and everything are promotional videos, meaning AMD pays somebody or Intel pays somebody, and what they do is they get money. I don't get any money for doing this. This is, you know, look at my background. I'm not in a studio, so I don't get paid to, you know, to give you guys information. This is something that I've just learned over the years, and I'm trying to share that with people out there. So the misconception is people are asking me right now, what is the best processor for playing games? And I have to sort of get off of that and say the best thing to do is go for a video card. Okay, most of your processing is when you play a video game is off of the video card. It is not off of the CPU or the processor. Don't get me wrong, the processor is a part of it, just like the rest of your computer, but you need to get a better video card would be better than to get a new processor. So a bigger power supply, bigger video card, and you're going to be able to play your games a little bit better. So I'm careful when I say that, because if you go out and get a single core and then you just get a big, you know, video card, you're still not going to be able to play the games. Yeah, you need a good quad core chip, and then you need a great video card and a power supply, and you're going to do well in playing your games. So it is a really big misconception, because people think that, hey, I go out and I'm going to get this fantastic processor and I'm going to play these games, and then they go down to sit down to play Battlefield 3, and then, you know, like the video card I just had there, it doesn't work. It's a 9800 GTX. It's an older version. It's, you know, 512 memory. You know, you need at least 1 gig memory for playing Battlefield. Just a minimum. 460 GTX is probably like for an NVIDIA at least. That's where you want to get into playing Battlefield 3. Now, yes, you can play it on some of the older, you know, older video cards that are out there, but if you want some good, you know, FPSs, if you want frames per second, if you want them to be where it's playable, you need a good video card. So, but anyway, I'm sort of rabbit trailing off. But some of the comments that were out there, again, I want to address those. Is that don't go after the biggest processor necessarily. Don't look for whatever one hyperthreads the best. You know, and because it's not really about that. It's like I said, it's about the video card. So something else I want to bring up too is that when you have, say you had an AMD processor, the FX 8150, okay, and then you have, say you have the 2500K. Now those are two that are pretty close, they're comparable. And you think of AMD in the sense that, you know, AMD is going to do better in a game than the 2500K because it's an 8-core versus a quad-core, or, you know, reverse that scenario, hey, the 2500K just multi-threads better, and it just works better than the 8150. So, and a lot of people are like, well, what's the truth there? Well, the truth is if you went out and took 10 games, 10 of your top games, you know, Modern Warfare, you know, and you Battlefield 3, you will get all your top 10 demanding games, and you run all 10 of them with the same, so you take the two processors, you put them into test beds or computers, and then you take, say, a 690 NVIDIA, which is a big card. You put that in one, and you turn around and put it into the other one, and you run these tests. What you're going to find out is that of the test, there might be two of the 10 games that the FX 8150 works better than the 2500K. and you scratch your head and you're like, well, if it multi-threads better, or if it plays 8 games, then why is it losing out to 2 of them? And the reason it is because you have to understand how games are made, and then how a processor processes their information. So, for instance, maybe one game out there, let's take Metro 2033, that turns around and says, I like FX processors. And NVIDIA, it works a little better than NVIDIA. So if you're playing, say, Metro 2033, it actually works better with an FX processor than the 2500K. Okay, so that's a lot of people, because you'll see at one test where the 8150 beats the 2500K, and you're like, oh, the 8150 is just a better processor. Well, yeah, if that's the game you play, but if you play Battlefield 3, it's going to be more of the 2500K. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there. You hear a lot of people throwing around things, and if you ever see somebody that puts up, these are my stats, and they put up like a bar chart or something, and they turn around and say, look at, we'll just say there's a new processor, we're going to call it the 9150, FX 9150, and look, it blows away everything that Intel has, and anybody can make up a chart and put it up on there. So really beware of people that just throw stuff up. Now, not to say that if you didn't, if you talk to, you watch a guy like, what is it, there's a few guys that I watch out there, motherboards.org, Linus Tech Tips, and then there's the guy over in UK, Tommy Live. I'm sorry, I hacked it up. But anyway, there's a lot of people out there that are legit people. Yeah, they get paid. There's a lot of promotions in there. A lot of people are throwing stuff their way, but a lot of their stuff, if you've watched them over the years and they've been pretty consistent, and you've done your own testing and it matches up to what they've done, then you can say, yeah, they're pretty legit. I mean, they're shooting from the hip. They might push you this way or push you one way or the other, but usually they're pretty honest with it. So a key to all that is really, if you're gonna look for the truth on any processor or any video card out there, you got to do a lot of YouTubing, a lot of Googling, look for tests that are comparing stuff and that are actually physically being run at the same time, where they're not like the camera turns back on, you see this big score, it's as bad as people showing UFO things, all these really creative things that are out there. So it's one of those things that you really, really need to do your homework when you're looking stuff up. But honest, if you really take the time and you YouTube it, you Google it, and you look, you're going to find the truth out there somewhere. And what's nice is you hit enough channels and they're all saying the same thing, then it's probably the truth. So, but back to, just to recap what we just went over, I was mumbling about all that, is that when you're doing these games and you're, should I put more money in my processor or should you put more money in the video card? Okay? Most of the time, it's the video card. As long as you have somewhat of a foundation of the processor and decent memory, say 8 gigs of memory, to sit there and say, it's like saying, well, what about a hard drive? You got to put a hard drive in there, like an SSD. Well, an SSD will boot you into the games quicker, okay? So you'll boot in quicker, and it jumps right over to the video card. The video card takes over in the memory of the video card, because a lot of today's games push on the memory of these video cards. That's something else that is people need to be aware of. So if you had, say you had 4 680 GTXs, you have 4 of those in a row. Well, they're all lined up for a quad SLI, and you're running them. You have to understand that when you're in game, say you're in Battlefield 3 and you're playing, only one of those cards, the memory is being used from one of them, not all 4 of them. Okay? It only uses one. Okay, so you're only using, say, 1.5 gig. You're not using, a huge, if it's a 2 gig card or a 3 gig, yeah, that's good. Then you're using the 2 or the 3 gig. But say if you had, 4 3 gig cards, it only uses the first card. It's going to use the memory off one of the GPUs, not all of them. So that's another misconception you hear out there. And I'm trying to think if I covered everything. There's a lot of things that people really feel that this is going to make my computer faster if I overclock it. And what happens is, think about it, when you're overclocking it and you're getting, say you get 10%, 5%, it's not going to do that much when it comes to a game. When I'm running at 5, like I had my one, I had a 2600K at 5.4, and I was playing, it wasn't Battlefield 3, I was playing, I think it was Modern Warfare. I had 5.4 gigahertz, okay, and I was running two 580 GTX, and there wasn't any difference playing that game than if I was running a stock 2600K with one 580. Okay, and you're thinking, whoa, it should be big different. No, it doesn't. So if the game is already maxed out, meaning if the game is already, the max you can go with the game is one 580, putting another one in is sort of overkill. And so now if you're getting into 2, 3, 4, 5 monitors, 6 monitors or something like that, yes, then you need a lot of memory from a video card. That's where you're going to see the big thing. You need a 3, 4 gig video card that's going to be able to handle that kind of resolution. But when you only have a monitor, that's the other thing that's the other thing I wanted to go over. When you have a monitor that's 1080p, and you say, oh, I'm 1920 by 1080, and it's only going to max it. That's it. Once you max it out, you could have 10 video cards in there, and the resolution is only going to be this good. It's not going to, if that's all it can show, that's it. So a lot of people think that, if you have a monitor, now if you have a high resolution, it's going up to 24, 2700. Now all of a sudden, now it's going to the video card and it's looking to seeing if you can max it out. But there's a lot of video cards that will max out at 1080p, and that's all you're going to see. I think I heard it once said that you only see 60 frames per second anyway. So if you're cranked that thing up, my 4 580s, I was running it at I think one of it hit like 480 frames per second in one of the little clips, and it's like, yeah, like I got these on. I mean, I can only see maybe 50 frames per second. And so what's funny is you can really overkill a system, you can overdo things, and the big misconception is people really feel they can, I have to spend all this money to have a playable game, and that's really, honestly, that's not true. You don't need a 1200 watt power supply with one video card. You can get away with a good 80% 600 watt, or a 500 watt even. So anyway, a few little misconceptions. I've heard a lot of chatter over the years, and that's something I just wanted to throw that out there for whatever it's worth. And if you thumbs down it, then I'll turn around and just cancel it. It's a lot of babbling, but other than that, have a great day, and hopefully I can have some new tech something or other, and I can show everybody. So have a great day.